guys, today we're going to be evaluating and interpreting the domain restrictions of a piecewise function. So this is the piecewise function that we have. F of x equals x plus 1, negative 3 is greater than x, and 0 is less than x. So what we can do with this is, so we have a negative 3 right here. Then we have a greater than sign. So greater than, always going to go to the right. You can automatically do that. But let's think, negative 3 is right here, okay? And since it has the underlined portion on the greater than symbol, that means that that number is actually included. Or you can say it's the actual point. So we'll put a dot right there. And remember, you have a closed circle because of the underlined portion. Then we go to 0, and it's less than 0. So this is 0 right here. Then we'll go a little open point. But boom. You know? So the domain of this function is negative 3 to 0. Boom. Now the next function, x squared, 0 is greater than x. Boom. So since this has an underlined portion, just like last time, you're going to make sure that you circle in that 0. Like so. Boom. Then it says x less than 2. Remember, if greater than goes to the right, that means less than has to go to the left. 2 is right here. It will still be considered as a closed circle because of this underlined portion. That means it's an actual point. And we can make a little squiggly line. So this range is from, this domain, we'll write it right here, is from negative 3 actual point to 0. So when you have an actual point, also known as a closed circle, you have to make a bracket. Then the domain for this one is 0, boom, to 2, boom. As you see, I put brackets on both of them because both of these have underlined portions. And this one has a parentheses because it's not actually graph this equation. First, before you graph, you have to know the parent function to these. And you'll be using this set of numbers. So the numbers closest to the left, that's really what you're going to determine your graph on. The numbers closest to the right, that's what you're going to be worrying about your domain on. So I'm going to erase this a little bit. Because the total domain of everything, I'll write it big right here, is from negative 3. Make sure you got to put that bracket because the negative 3 has an underlined portion for the greater than sign. Means it's the actual point. All the way to 2. So the parent function of x plus 1. Now what you can do with this is, you see it's x plus 1. That means that you're going up 1. You still have that 0 there. So what you're doing is, you're going up 1, but since that 0 right there does not have an underlined part, it's an open circle. The slope of this line right here is 1. So count, boom, 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 boom. You can go down to your negative 3, and you can put a closed circle right there. As you remember, the negative 3 is a closed circle because it's an actual point. Then this would be that line right there. That's the line for the actual equation of this piecewise function. So only the top part, this is the actual line because the domain is negative 3 to 0. And 0 has an open point because it's not an actual point, so it's an open circle. Then negative 3 has a closed circle because it's considered as an actual point. Let's just remember that. Now this function, the next one, it says it's x squared. Now, if you know the parent function of that, which it is a parent function, it's the parabola. So let's think the way a parabola goes. Kind of goes in kind of like a U shape a little bit. So boom. At 0, it's an actual point. And there's no type of vertical shift, no type of horizontal shift, so boom, we're good. So you can put the actual point at 0, 0, then you can just go up. But you got to remember, you're only going up to 2. So it will look something like this. Then you have to make sure that you put your closed circle right there, okay? Because as you see here, since the 2 has a less than sign that has a underlined portion, that means that you have to have a closed circle, which is the actual point. So this is what the graph would look like from this piecewise function. You have the domain of -3 to 2, -3 to 2. The reason why we have the brackets is because these are actual points. And this is determined by this sign right here, the greater than sign with the line under it. Or in the other case, the less than sign with the line on it. That's simple. Then remember, open circle, closed circle. The reason why this graph goes up is because it has a vertical shift up 1. And yeah, that's how you tie everything together. So we have learned how to interpret the domain of a piecewise function. Then after that, we learn how to graph it. So now let's work backwards. So boom, we have this graph right here. First thing you do, it's a piecewise function. You gotta start off with f of x. So let's start off with that. F of x. Now, let's use this function. First of all, let's think of this function. There is definitely a parent function that goes with this. What's the parent function? It's a linear. Boom. So now you know. So it's gonna be x plus. The reason why I put a plus there is because, as you see, it started higher up. Thus we know that it has a vertical shift up. And that number's at 5, we're gonna put 5. Boom. Like so. Now, domain. I feel like domain is one of the easier things. So let's see. It said -2. That's the farthest it will go to the right. Boom. As you see, this line right here has a little arrow. That means infinity. So what you can put is x is less than 2. -2. Boom. Now, you may ask, what does this do? This is not an actual point. That's a better way to put it. So what you have to do is an open circle. Then when you have an open circle, you have to make sure that you do not have the underlined portion of the less than or greater sign. That simple. Now, for the next one. Let's see, what type of function is this? You know, you may ask yourself, wait, it looks a little off. Let's think. That's just a horizontal line. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be equals, horizontal is -2. As you see, -2, boom, horizontal. Now, let's see, it goes farthest left at -2. Then it just keeps on going, keeps on going, keeps on going. All the way to infinity. So what you can do here is go x is greater than -2. Now you may ask, why did I put the underlined portion for this sign instead of this sign? Because this is not an open circle. It's a closed circle. So when you have a closed circle / actual point, you got to make sure that you put the line under your either greater than or less than sign to show that. And that's how you graph a function.